Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. This is World DNA, the show that gets you ahead of the rest. I'm Shivan Chandna.
And I'm Jyotsna. On the show today, U.S. President Donald Trump has said that he was considering a range of military options in Nigeria, ever threatening to intervene over the killing of Christians in the African nation. Now, of course, Trump said that the U.S. would immediately cut off all the assistance to the country if Nigeria government continues to allow the killing of Christians. We're bringing you all the updates on that story on the show today.
Also on World DNA, India's long wait is over. Harmanpreet Kaur, the spirited Indian cricket team, they have lifted their maiden Women's World Cup, defeating South Africa in a thrilling final. India are crowned world champions for the first time, and the women in blue defeated South Africa by 52 runs in the ICC Women's ODI World Cup final in Navi Mumbai. We'll bring you all the latest on that. Let's start with the headlines. This is World DNA.
Host India beat South Africa in the final of the Women's ODI World Cup. This is the maiden World Cup title for the women in blue.
President Murmu lauds Team India for creating history by winning their maiden ICC Women's World Cup title. Prime Minister Modi says their performance in the final was marked by great skill and confidence and will motivate future champions to take up sports.
U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says nuclear weapons testing ordered by President Trump will not involve nuclear explosions at this time.
US President Donald Trump says Chinese President Xi Jinping understands the consequences if China invades Taiwan, refuses to confirm whether the US would intervene militarily.
Magnitude 6.3 earthquake jolts northern Afghanistan 2 months after a tremor in the country's east killed over 2,200 people.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu claims there are pockets of Hamas in Israeli-controlled areas of the Gaza Strip. Vows they will be eliminated.
Your administration provide Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles. Is that something that you're not considering that?
No, not really.
Trump says he's not really considering giving Ukraine long-range Tomahawk missiles, even as Russian strikes continue. 2 children among dead in the latest Russian blitz on Ukraine.
Could be. I mean, a lot of things I envisage, a lot of things.
Trump says he is considering a range of military options in Nigeria after threatening to intervene over the killing of Christians in the African nation.
And a new dawn rises for women's cricket in India, a glorious sunrise after years of waiting in the shadows.
Firecrackers could be heard across the country. Everybody was in unison while celebrating this win. India are crowned world champions for the first time, and the women in blue defeated South Africa by 52 runs in the ICC Women's ODI World Cup final in Navi Mumbai. I can almost imagine a movie being made on it just like tomorrow.
Absolutely. No, a triumph that heralds a bright new era. The match started after a 2-hour rain delay in Navi Mumbai. South Africa won the toss and asked India to bat first under overcast conditions. The women in blue, who had lost to the Proteas in the group stage, made a strong start this time. Shafati dispatched the first ball. She faced to the boundary, setting the tone for the innings. The 21-year-old was not part of the original squad and only came in as an injury replacement. Shafati made most of her opportunity and took the attack to the bowlers. allowing Mandhana to settle in. The southpaw also found her rhythm later, but once again to a left arm spinner on 45. Verma rode her luck and top score with 87 off 78 balls, giving India a solid per platform.
However, semi-final star Jemima Rodriguez and skipper Harmanpreet Kaur, they departed early. Deepti Sharma held one end with a fighting half-century, while Richa Ghosh provided some late fireworks. But India fell short of the 300 mark, managing just 69 runs in the last 10 overs to finish at 298. Then came South Africa to bat. They needed a record chase to win the final. They hadn't lost a single match while chasing in this edition. And skipper Laura and Tasmin Brits, they gave the Proteas a solid start, adding 50 runs for the opening wicket. But Brits was run out for 23, a moment that shifted the momentum in India's favour. Walbot then built another half-century stand with Soon Lewis before Shafali turned the game with her part-time spin. She removed Lewis and veteran Marizanne Kapp in quick succession, putting India firmly in control. Walbot kept South Africa in the hunt, and when Dixon launched two huge sixes, the Proteas had some kind of hope again. But Deepti Sharma struck back, clean bowling Dixon for 37, while South Africa still needed 90 runs.
Now, Vurva, the leading run scorer of the tournament, went on to register her second consecutive ton, but her wicket sealed the result. Amanjot Kaur juggled the catch, held on, and India wrapped up the final. South Africa were all out for 246.
US President Donald Trump has said that he is considering a range of military options in Nigeria.
And this comes after threatening to intervene over the killing of Christians in the African nation. Earlier on Sunday, Nigeria suggested a meeting between its president, Bola Tinubu, and Trump to ease out the diplomatic tensions.
Now, the development comes after Trump blasted Nigeria. This happened on Saturday, asking Pentagon to map out a possible plan of attack in Nigeria, claiming that Christianity was facing an existential threat in Africa's most populous country. The claim has since drawn the attention of the Nigerian government, who rejected Trump's claims and proposed cooperation in combating terrorism.
When asked aboard Air Force One if he was considering sending troops on the ground in Nigeria or airstrikes, Trump replied that he envisaged a lot of things, adding that a large number of Christians were being killed by Nigeria.
Could be. I mean, a lot of things I envisage, a lot of things. They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria. And they have other countries very bad also. You know that part of the world, very bad. They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
Responding to Trump's threat, Nigeria said on Sunday that it would welcome US help in fighting Islamist insurgents as long as its territorial integrity is respected.
Nigerian President spokesperson Daniel Buala said that Nigeria is US partner in the global fight against terrorism and that there would be better outcomes if both leaders met in person.
He added that Nigerian government did not see Trump's threat in the literal sense. Buala also rejected the claims of a Christian genocide.
So the report or notion that there is a Christian persecution or genocide in Nigeria is false. False both from the premise and the conclusion. It is not supported by data.
Nigeria, which is almost evenly divided between a Muslim majority north and a largely Christian south, is embroiled in numerous conflicts that experts say have killed both Christians and Muslims without distinction.
Islamist insurgents such as Boko Haram and Islamic State, they have wreaked havoc in the country for more than 15 years and killed thousands of people. However, their attacks have been largely confined to the northeast of the country, which is majority Muslim. Now, these groups often move between neighboring countries, Cameroon, Chad and Niger, and are scattered across a very large swathe of territory.
Now, in central Nigeria, there have been frequent clashes between mostly Muslim herders and mainly Christian farmers over access to water and pasture. While in the northwest of the country, gunmen routinely attack villages, kidnapping residents for ransom.
Trump's threat of military action came a day after his administration added that Nigeria is back to a countries of particular concern list which is a list of nations that the US says have violated religious freedoms.
Now, Tinubu, a Muslim from southern Nigeria who is married to a Christian pastor, has pushed back against accusations of religious intolerance and defended his country's efforts to protect religious freedom.
You have elected me to serve.
And United States President Donald Trump will host Syria's interim leader Ahmed al-Sharaa for talks on November 10th.
And it would mark the first ever visit by a Syrian president to the White House. Now, according to reports, the US hopes a security arrangement will be finalized before Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa visits Washington, with Damascus expected to join the US-led coalition against ISIS. The deal, if it is struck, would seek to halt Israeli airstrikes and withdraw Israeli troops from southern Syria, a significant shift after decades of hostility, even following the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad last year.
Al-Sharaa's visit marks the first time a Syrian president has traveled to Washington since the country's independence in 1946, and the second visit by President al-Sharaa to the U.S. following his attendance at the United Nations General Assembly in New York last September.
President al-Sharaa previously met with US President Donald Trump on the 14th of May in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, during a historic summit in which Trump announced the lifting of sanctions on Syria. The United States Special Envoy to Syria, Tom Barrack, has sent a sharp message to the West: do not go there, warning against re-entering the politics of the Levant and West Asia with old colonial templates.
Now, speaking at the Manama Dialogue in Bahrain on November 1st, Barrack said the West must learn from past mistakes, adding that imposing centralized colonial-style models on the region has never worked. He contrasted that with what he called benevolent monarchies, saying they succeeded through alignment of religious and political interests and resource allocation without systemic corruption.
Barrack said the Trump administration is pursuing lessons learned, shifting from oil-driven strategies to powering the region through energy, artificial intelligence and microchip manufacturing, trading oil-based wealth for portfolios of a new economic era.
Right? Since the fall of the Ottoman Empire, everything that the West has done has been a mistake. Taking the colonial mandate and placing it on tribes and flags in religious context has never worked. It just has never worked. So all those centralized models have failed.
Now, he also described West Asia as a difficult zip code, home to three major Abrahamic faiths and layered ethno-religious identities. Asked about the Israel-Palestine crisis, Barrack said the priority right now is clear: stop the killing, enable humanitarian aid, and secure a marrying of interests between Palestinians and Israelis, with the U.S., the Gulf, and the international community working towards that goal rather than jumping ahead to one-state or two-state labels.
In a major reveal, Barrack confirmed ongoing de-escalation talks between Syria and Israel, mediated by Washington. He said both sides are close to an agreement, but refused to give a timeline.
Syria, in addition to that, is marching towards Israel. We're on our fifth set of discussions with Israel. Border and boundary discussions, de-escalation. You could very quickly have a realignment of the tapestry that we haven't seen in the Middle East.
Israel has said that it has received the remains of 3 additional captives from Hamas as part of the ongoing hostage prisoner exchange under the US-brokered ceasefire agreement for Gaza.
Now, despite occasional flare-ups, a fragile truce has held in Gaza since 10th of October under a deal focused on the return of all Israeli hostages, both living and dead. The Prime Minister's office has said that Israel has received, through Red Cross, the coffin of 3 fallen hostages that were handed over to IDF and Shin Bet forces inside the Gaza Strip.
The bodies have been sent to National Forensic Center for identification and investigation into the circumstances and cause of death. Hamas said that it had found the remains earlier on Sunday along the route of one of the tunnels in the southern Gaza Strip. Since the start of the truce, Hamas has released the 20 surviving hostages and begun handing over the remains of the 28 deceased captives. It has so far returned 17, including 15 Israelis, 1 Thai national and 1 Nepali.
Now, Hamas spokesperson Hazem Qassem has said in a statement that the handover on Sunday showed that the group was making every effort to return the bodies as quickly as possible. An Israeli campaign group representing the families of the hostages urged the government to act decisively to ensure all the deceased are brought back home.
However, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has once again vowed to eliminate Hamas. He claimed that there are still pockets of the Palestinian group in some of the Gaza Strip areas controlled by the Israeli forces.
There are still pockets of Hamas in the areas under our control in Gaza, and we are systematically eliminating them. There are actually 2 in Rafah and Khan Yunis, and they will be eliminated.
At the same time, Israel has warned of intensifying attacks against Hezbollah in South Lebanon. Smoke was seen rising over various parts of southern Lebanon as Israel warned it would act as necessary if Lebanon did not stop Hezbollah from rearming. Netanyahu told a cabinet meeting on Sunday that Hezbollah was seeking to rearm and that Israel would exercise its right to self-defense under last year's ceasefire accord if Lebanon failed to stop it. Now, Iran is renewing its nuclear vow.
Tehran is sending out a strong message. It vows to rebuild its nuclear sites destroyed in recent US and Israeli strikes, and this time stronger than before. Speaking during a visit to the Atomic Energy Organization, Iranian President Pezeshkian promised that the country's nuclear facilities will be restored with greater strength. However, he stressed that Iran is not seeking nuclear weapons.
This knowledge is within our scientists. Destroying buildings and factories will not create a problem for us. We will rebuild and with greater strength.
Pezeshkian remarks come amid growing tensions following US and Israeli strikes in June. In similar remarks in February before the strikes, he said that Iran would rebuild its sites if they came under any attack.
President Donald Trump has repeatedly warned that the United States will not hesitate to strike again if Iran attempts to revive the damaged facilities.
Washington insists that the June strikes targeted what it described as elements of a weapons development program. Tehran rejects the allegation, saying its nuclear work serves only for peaceful civilian purposes.
Israel's assault in June triggered a brief but intense war that lasted 12 days. IDF carried out a wave of airstrikes targeting Tehran's nuclear research sites, missile bases, and other strategic locations. Civilian areas were also hit.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi later confirmed that the damage to nuclear installations was severe. He said rebuilding will be costly and time-consuming, but remains a matter of national pride.
Meanwhile, diplomatic efforts remain stalled. According to reports, Oman, which is a mediator between Tehran and Washington, has urged both sides to restart talks. The Gulf nation hosted 5 rounds of negotiations earlier this year, but the 6th was cancelled. This happened just days before the 12-day war.
Now, since the fighting ended, Iran has faced additional challenges. Britain, France and Germany have reimposed UN sanctions by triggering the snapback mechanism from the 2015 nuclear deal, citing what they say are breaches by Tehran. The move further isolates the Iranian economy and narrows the space for diplomacy.
And Russia unveils its new nuclear sea monster.
Now, Khabarovsk rolls out in a show of force, marking a major leap in its maritime deterrence.
Russia calls it a landmark moment after successful tests of its Poseidon nuclear torpedo and Burevestnik cruise missile. Take a look at this next report as Moscow's move signals its intent to maintain strategic dominance in the world's oceans. It's sleek, silent, and potentially apocalyptic. At a shipyard in Severodvinsk, northern Russia, Russia has rolled out its newest nuclear-powered submarine, K-329 Khabarovsk. This is a new, chilling dimension to Russia's nuclear arsenal, one that moves silently beneath the waves. Built under a secretive project, Khabarovsk is no ordinary submarine. It's designed to carry out Poseidon nuclear torpedoes autonomous underwater drones with virtually unlimited range. Each Poseidon can carry a nuclear warhead of up to 100 megatons, capable of generating radioactive tsunamis to obliterate coastal cities. Russia calls it an unstoppable deterrent. The United States and NATO have reportedly not acknowledged having any system capable of intercepting a deep-sea nuclear drone like Poseidon. Unlike traditional nuclear missiles, it cannot be stopped by missile shields, satellites, or anti-ballistic defense systems. The Khabarovsk is expected to join Russia's Pacific Fleet, where it will operate alongside the Belgorod, another special-purpose sub armed with Poseidons. But experts warn this launch is just the beginning. The vessel will undergo sea trials before full commissioning, which is expected around 2026.
This carrier of underwater weapons and robotic systems will enable us to successfully secure Russia's maritime borders and protect its national interests in various parts of the world's oceans. The vessel still has a series of sea trials to complete. I wish the crew and the commissioning team every success in conducting them.
The launch sends a clear message. Russia's underwater deterrence is expanding, despite sanctions, isolation, and a costly war in Ukraine. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Now, dozens of people gathered in Uruapan in Mexico's western state of Michoacan for the funeral of Mayor Carlos Manzo.
Manzo was shot dead during Day of the Dead festivities. Mourners filled the streets chanting justice as the hearse passed. Flowers were tossed, a mariachi band played, and the mayor's hat rested on a horse's back. A final tribute to a leader described by residents as devoted to his community.
The bad guys no longer wanted to be attacked by the mayor. He was actually achieving a lot for us, the citizens, and for Uruapan. He was accomplishing many things. That's why they killed him.
Manzo's widow, Grecia Garcia, pledged that her husband's work will continue.
Even if they silenced his voice, they won't silence this struggle. They won't, because we will carry on his legacy.
Authorities said the mayor was killed by a lone gunman during the Festival of Candles, part of the celebrations. 7 shots were fired and the weapon was later linked to regional criminal activity. Manzo had been under police and National Guard protection since late 2024, with his security detail reinforced earlier this year.
Mexican Security Minister Omar Garcia Harfuch said that the killing highlighted ongoing challenges for local authorities in combating criminal violence. At the site of the attack, mourners built a small altar with candles, flowers, and the mayor's photo.
Meanwhile, in northern Mexico, at least 23 people, including children, were killed and 11 others were injured in an explosion at Waldo's supermarket. The injured were taken to local hospitals. President Claudia Sheinbaum offered condolences to the victims' families. Authorities have ruled out any deliberate attack and are investigating whether an electrical fault or transformer caused the blast. All right, viewers, it's time now for a short break, but this is World DNA. Don't go anywhere. We will be back on the other side. The women in blue won their maiden ODI World Cup, but it was Indian batter Shefali Verma's golden arm that did all the magic at the grand finale in Navi Mumbai. We'll bring you all the details.
A magnitude 6.3 earthquake has struck northern Afghanistan this just months after another deadly tremor left the country, revealing it's contended with a series of humanitarian crises. We'll get you all the details on the other side. Keep watching WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
He's a very tough negotiator. That's not good.
Given our different national conditions, we do not always see eye to eye with each other.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching World DNA with Jyotsna. I'm Shivan. Lots more to discuss. Let's start with the headlines.
The Indian Cricket Board announces a cash prize worth 51 crore, that's approximately $5.74 million for the world champion Indian women's cricket team.
US Energy Secretary Chris Wright says nuclear weapons testing ordered by President Trump will not involve nuclear explosions at this time.
US President Donald Trump says Chinese President Xi Jinping understands the consequences if China invades Taiwan, refuses to confirm whether the US would intervene militarily.
At least 7 dead as a magnitude 6.3 earthquake jolts northern Afghanistan 2 months after a tremor in the country's east killed over 2,200 people.
Nepal's Prime Minister Sushila Karki holds joint meeting with Chief Minister of all 7 provinces, continues consultation on general elections scheduled for March.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu claims there are pockets of Hamas in Israeli-controlled areas of the Gaza Strip, vows they will be eliminated.
You're administered to provide Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles. Is that something that you're not considering that?
No, not really.
Trump says he's not really considering giving Ukraine long-range Tomahawk missiles, even as Russian strikes continue. 2 children among dead in the latest Russian blitz on Ukraine.
India to nearly triple its incentive program for rare earth magnet manufacturing to about $788 million in a bid to boost domestic capacity and curb reliance on China, with cabinet approval still pending. Earthquake has struck northern Afghanistan. This is just months after another deadly tremor left the country reeling as it contended with a series of humanitarian crises.
Now, Afghan provincial health officials say at least 7 have died and 150 others have been injured in the latest earthquake. According to USGS, the latest quake hit in the early hours of Monday morning at a depth of 28 kilometers, with the epicenter near the city of Mazar-e-Sharif. The quake sent residents of Mazar-e-Sharif, one of Afghanistan's largest northern cities, running into the streets due to the fears their homes would collapse.
Now, it is the latest natural disaster to hit the country, which has faced 3 major deadly quakes since the Taliban took over the country in 2021, even as the foreign aid that formed the backbone of the country dramatically dropped. In August, a shallow 6.0 magnitude earthquake in the country's east wiped out mountainside villages and killed more than 2,200 people. Large tremors in western Herat near the Iranian border in 2023 and in eastern Nangarhar province in 2022 killed hundreds and destroyed thousands of homes.
Now, a new flashpoint in US-China tensions. President Donald Trump claims that China would never move on Taiwan while he is in charge because Beijing, he says knows the consequences.
Now, in a CBS 60 Minutes interview, Trump said, "You will find out if it happens," quote unquote. No clarity, but a clear warning. Listen to this.
Would you order U.S. forces to defend Taiwan?
You'll find out if it happens. And he understands the answer to that.
Why not say
This
it?
never even came up yesterday as a subject. He never brought it up. People were a little surprised at that. He never brought it up because he understands it, and he understands it very well.
Now, Trump also revealed that Taiwan issue did not come up in his first face-to-face meeting with Xi Jinping in 6 years during their South Korea visit for APEC. The strategic ambiguity lives on, with Trump adding, and I'm quoting, "I can't give away my secrets."
US officials have long been concerned about the possibility of China using military force against Taiwan. The self-ruled island democracy is claimed by Beijing as part of its own territory.
The 1979 Taiwan Relations Act, which has governed U.S. relations with the island, does not require the U.S. to step in militarily if China invades, but makes it American policy to ensure that Taiwan has the resources to defend itself and to prevent any unilateral change of status by Beijing.
Now, the Pentagon is pushing to strengthen defense cooperation with Vietnam. U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth opened his visit to Hanoi by calling for stronger military cooperation with Vietnam.
Now, as talks continue over potential U.S. arms supply, this is what he said. Let's listen to it first.
The U.S. Air Force has recently delivered 3 T-6 trainer aircraft, completing an order of 12 planes. The United States is committed to continuing these projects and more. Deeper cooperation will benefit both of our countries.
Vietnam has long depended on Russian-made weapons for its military needs, but officials in Hanoi are now seeking to diversify their arsenal and modernize their forces. The United States lifted its arms embargo on Vietnam in 2016, opening the door for deeper cooperation. So far, Washington has delivered 3 cutters to the Vietnamese Coast Guard and 3 of 12 T-6 training aircraft.
Hegseth said that is only the start, with more support planned in the months ahead. In a statement, Vietnam's defense ministry said both the countries agreed to keep promoting security ties and explore joint projects in the defense industry. Officials also highlighted a new agreement signed last week to expand work on war legacy cleanup, including the removal of dioxin contamination left over from the Vietnam War.
The U.S. Secretary of War's visit to Vietnam holds significant importance, coinciding with the 30th anniversary of diplomatic relations and reinforcing the comprehensive strategic partnership for peace, cooperation, and sustainable development, as well as deepening bilateral defense ties between the two countries.
During his visit, Hegseth also met with President Leung Kwong. Both leaders reaffirmed their commitment to stability in the Indo-Pacific.
Now, in India's Rajasthan state, a tragic road accident has claimed at least 15 people's lives.
A tempo traveller carrying temple devotees rammed into a stationary trailer truck near Jodhpur. Prime Minister Modi has expressed grief and announced financial aid for the victims' families. The crash took place on Sunday evening near Matoda village in the Falodi area of Jodhpur, where a tempo traveller returning from Bikaner's Kolayath temple collided with a parked trailer truck. The impact of the collision was so severe that the front portion of the vehicle was completely crushed.
सड़क हादसा हुआ है, उसमें लोगों की मृत्यु हुई है, जो काफ़ी दुखद है, परंतु जो उसमें घायल हैं उनके सही से चिकित्सा हो जाए उसके लिए एमडीए में व्यवस्था की गई है और ओसियां से एक ग्रीन कॉरिडोर के द्वारा उनको यहाँ लाया जा रहा है। यहाँ पर उनकी स्वास्थ्य की और उनकी चिकित्सा की सही व्यवस्था है और हमारी पूरी कोशिश है कि उनकी जान बचाई जा सके।
According to officials, all victims were residents of a place near Jodhpur. They had gone to offer prayers at the Kapil Muni Ashram at the occasion of Devutani Ekadashi, a major Hindu festival marking the end of monsoon season. The injured were rushed to Jodhpur city hospitals for advanced treatment. Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered condolences on social media, calling the incident deeply saddening.
He announced an ex-gratia of rupees 2 lakhs for the families of each deceased and rupees 50,000 for those who were injured. Rajasthan Chief Minister Bhajanlal Sharma also directed officials to provide full assistance and medical support to the victims' families. Police have launched an investigation to determine whether speeding or driver fatigue was a factor in this crash.
A city of tehzeeb, of poetry and powdered spices has just put India on the global gourmet map.
Well, we're talking about Lucknow. The city of Nawabs has been officially named a UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy. A rare honor, a global salute to centuries of Awadhi artistry, from its royal kitchens to its street side stars. Take a look at this report.
We are celebrating a city that doesn't just cook food, it crafts poetry on a plate. Lucknow, the city of Nawabs, has just been crowned a UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy, and India's food map just got a whole lot richer. On World Cities Day at the UNESCO General Conference in Samarkand, Lucknow joined the elite global league of gastronomy giants, standing shoulder to shoulder with cities like Hyderabad, Shanzhou and Zaragoza. This isn't just a title. This is a move to honor smoke-laden tandoors to hand-pounded spices that demands patience and pride. Lucknow's culinary story was built on royal dastarkhans and perfected on street corners. This is a city where food isn't just eaten, it is recited, respected and relished. From the Nawabi kitchens to the gold darwazas, from the rigor of the ustads to the smiles of street vendors, Lucknow's taste is its memory and its gift to the world. If you're wondering where to begin your food trail, head straight to Tunde Kababi for that world-famous Galati kebabs, soft as a whisper, strong as a legacy. Then make your way to Dastarkhan, where biryani and butter chicken come with decadence, tradition, and a side of pure Nawabi charm. And of course, Royal Cafe, where chaat isn't just a snack, it's a theatre ladled with history, spices, and street-side pride. Lucknow has always said, "Pehle aap," and today the world replies, "Pehle Lucknow." Bureau Report, WION World is One.
In a bullish sign for India's economy, the government says tax collections under the goods and services tax remain strong despite significant cut to rates.
Now our next report dives into the details. Take a look at this report for more.
India managed to eke out a small rise in its GST collection last month despite significant cuts to the tax rates. October marked the slowest pace of revenue growth compared to an average growth rate of 9%. Still, according to the latest figures, the centre expects only a marginal shortfall. On September 22nd, the government implemented sweeping structural reforms to the GST regime. Rates on nearly 99% of taxed items were cut. The multi-layer tax structure was simplified from 4 slabs to 2. The current GST tax slabs are 5% and 18%, plus a special 40% for select items. Despite the tax cuts, the government collected 1.96 lakh crore rupees in GST for October, marking a jump of 4.6% from a year ago. That robustness gives the Finance Ministry confidence that any shortfall from the 2026 budget GST revenues will be manageable and modest. The strength in collections is being driven by healthy domestic consumption. For example, two-wheeler sales in October surged. Motorcycles saw a 16% jump, while scooters showed a 7% increase. Passenger vehicle volumes hit a record in October, jumping over 17% from a year ago. Festivals like Dussehra, Dhanteras, Diwali and Chhath Puja boosted the demand further last month. Timing played a part too. The GST reforms were launched just before the festive season, helping boost consumption, which in turn supported tax revenue. Collections typically spiked during festival months. Still, the momentum is encouraging, and government finances are expected to be fine. According to economists at ICRA, the overall fiscal deficit target of 4.4% of GDP for next year remains achievable. New compliance measures also kicked in from November 1st. That includes stricter verification for GST registrations and physical checks for high-risk cases. The measures are aimed at plugging revenue leakages and fake billing. However, a note of caution. Officials and analysts say once the festive season passes, collections might soften. The true trend will become clearer post-December when numbers settle. Prateek Jain, partner at Pricewaterhouse, said, despite massive rate cuts effective from September 22, a slight increase in domestic GST collection is encouraging and shows that demand is steadily increasing. Consistent increase in GST refunds shows confidence of tax administration that GST collections would show positive trend in the future as well. Next month's data would have the full impact of GST cuts and would be keenly awaited. Everyone will keep a close eye on how this plays out to see if the government's decision to encourage demand is a boon or bust. Business Bureau, WION, World is One.
The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to unveil a massive 1 lakh crore rupees, that's about 12 billion US dollars, research, development and innovation scheme in New Delhi.
Now, that's scheduled to happen today. The fund aims to boost India's private sector-led research in emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and deep tech. The new Research, Development and Innovation, or RDI scheme, will be launched during the Emerging Science and Technology Innovation Conclave. The three-day event is bringing together more than 3,000 participants from academia, industries, research institutions and the government.
Discussions at the conclave will cover 11 key themes, including artificial intelligence, deep tech and digital communication. Now, under the new scheme, the government will use public funds to support private sector research and development for the first time. The fund is reportedly expected to be launched formally later this month and will help create a stronger innovation ecosystem across India. It is also expected to encourage collaboration between the universities, startups and industry leaders in strategic technology sectors.
Now, the RDI fund is part of the government's wider push to position India as a global leader in science and technology, particularly in fields such as AI, quantum computing and advanced manufacturing. Next up, let's get you the latest updates from entertainment, starting with Japanese rock legend Yoshiki, who was officially inducted into the Asian Hall of Fame at a star-studded ceremony in Los Angeles. The co-founder of the rock band X-Japan, known for his prolific work as a musician, composer and producer, was honored for his decades-long career and significant cultural impact. At the event, Yoshiki said, and I quote here, "I feel very grateful and honored. I've been trying to pursue my dream for a long time, but then people started to recognize my effort."
Lee Soo-man, the founder of SM Entertainment and a visionary widely credited as the architect of K-pop's global expansion, was honored with a high-profile induction at the Asian Hall of Fame ceremony in Los Angeles. Often referred to as the king of K-pop, he was praised for turning K-pop into a global language.
Supermodel and reality TV star Kendall Jenner is celebrating her 30th birthday today. One of the world's highest paid models, Jenner is expected to celebrate the milestone with family and friends following a recent headline-making appearance at a Halloween party where her costume sparked significant debate on social media. The Kardashians' star continues to balance a high-fashion runway career with her entrepreneurial ventures.
All right, with that, we call a wrap to World Day, but don't go anywhere. News and updates will follow on the other side. And we leave you with some climate stories that are making headlines across the world. Thanks for staying with us. Stay tuned.